Christmas, people. Happy holidays. How are you doing? How is the festivity period carrying you? Huh? Carrying you. Inakubeba, eh? So, yeah, it's been a minute since last time I promised that I'll be coming back with a new episode of how I became a parent at the age of 12, 13, thereabout. So, I know the question that is ringing into your head. How possible? And I'll ask you, what is parenthood? Yeah, of course, other than bringing forth children, it is being able to take care of those children and, of course, providing all their basic needs, including food. So, me niko hapo pa food. That is where I am. So, yeah, I was able to fend for my family at that tender age. A family of 5, 6. Yes, both my parents and my siblings. I know the question you're asking yourself, what had happened? If you've been an avid follower, then you know the story. My mother being the sole breadwinner and my father being sick. So this given time, she walks into the labor ward. And so that means she has to take a break to nurse herself and nurse the child, the newborn, right? But then again, life has to continue. We need to be eating. She needs to be eating. Yeah? So at that moment, what happens? I took up the responsibility. This time round, it was me to fend for the family. How? I have not mentioned that since the relocation, I got into, or I would accompany my mother to the tea plantations, because really that was the needful thing to do then. Because again, I tell you, the more you'd pick, the more money. Yeah. So that meant the more hens you had automatically, right? So yeah. So every weekend, every holiday when schools were closed, for me, the company I would have was my mother and the tea leaves picking thing. So it wasn't the first time really I was doing that, but it was the first time I'm doing it alone. And this time around, it was being so crucial moment, as it were, because really the family was now looking up to me. So yeah, she gives birth, and one thing I should state about my mother, that woman is the strongest woman I've ever met and I'm yet to meet. Because for the 2 pregnancies she carried, I would say she carried them to term. I saw her carry the pregnancies to term. She would only rest when she would be walking into the labor ward. In fact, she made me think that carrying pregnancy was an easy activity until I carried one myself. Mommy, that is yours. Thank you so much. So yeah, this given Sunday, I find myself going alone to pick tea leaves. It was one of those peak seasons, and during the peak seasons, the company would contract every other person, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, to pick leaves, but then we would be paid on a Monday. Yeah, the cash. So yeah, I went to the field, picked enough to earn me how much? 200 bob. For those who are there during the early 90s and 2000s, you can testify how much 200 shillings was, how much worth it had. I would say it was an equivalent of today's 2K or 2000s, because really the 200 could take a family a couple of days. Currently, with the current regime, somebody said the only way to, to save or to not to spend is to remain behind your closed doors, because anytime you walk out, that's 1,000 bob that is gone. So yeah, I was able to earn my 200 shillings that called me by name, and I saved the situation at home at that moment. Star, you owe me one. Guys, goodbye for now. See you in our next episode. You don't know what I'll be bringing you next.